All right, hello and welcome to the stream. Today we're gonna look at the UFC 313, the upcoming event on the weekend, Poatan versus Ankalaev, and yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it and see what fights we got. Starting off, the early prelims, we start in the middleweight division. We have Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos versus Osman Ozzy Diaz. For this fight, I have to say, Dos Santos so far, he hasn't lost on the big stage. He has lost before, but not in the UFC. Let me check. I don't think he has lost in the UFC. No, I'm sure he hasn't lost in the UFC, but I'm just checking when his loss was. I think was rather early in his career. Yeah, I was at Titan FC 2019. Yeah. His last loss is a while ago. But I still think that Ozzy Diaz is a savage. All his wins and losses are by finish. He lives or dies by the sword, and he's dropping back down to middleweight. So I think he's gonna get another finish. Sadly for Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos, but that's my prediction. I think Ozzy Diaz by TKO. Does he do his TKOs rather early or rather late? I think it's... Oh, yeah, a lot of first rounds, a couple of second rounds, no third rounds finishes. So I'm gonna say second round, maybe second round. Second. Moving on, we have in the featherweight division, we have Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda, who was supposed to fight last week, but couldn't because Douglas Silva de Andrade did not had medical problems during the sweat cut. I didn't see Castaneda winning against de Andrade last week. I think Gutierrez has even more ways to victory, especially his vicious leg kicks. He's one of the fighters who has multiple finishes by leg kicks. It's rare, and he has multiple, so I think Gutierrez is going to take this. I don't think that Castaneda is going to break. I think it's going to be a decision victory. But I don't think it's going to be that close. I think it's Chris Gutierrez by unanimous decision. Moving on, we have again the featherweight division. We have Myron Santos versus Francis Marshall. Finally, we get to see Myron Santos after his Ultimate Fighter stint, who looked very promising on the Ultimate Fighter. I have to say, looked very well rounded, good striking, aggressive guard, and really active everywhere, and good cardio. So he convinced me that he's a good fighter. He's very athletic also. I think that Francis, because the odds are very, very high in favor of Santos, I think Francis Marshall is going to be a tougher fight than the odds makers are giving him credit, but I think it's still going to be a win for Myron Santos. I think it's going to be a knockout, a TKO. Not sure. It can happen whenever. Myron Santos is the kind of fighter that doesn't force it, who's just waiting for the moment and waiting for his shot. So it can happen at any moment, I guess. And yeah. He usually smokes people on the feet. I think he's going to do that to Francis Marshall as well. Moving on. The prelims start with welterweights Alex Morono versus Carlos Leal. Yeah, Alex Morono is decent, in my opinion, he's decent everywhere, but he's not great anywhere. He also has no real threats of knocking you out or submitting you. I mean, he probably would knock me out or submit me, of course, but top fighters in the UFC in his division. Let me check when his last finish was. I think it's been a while. Not that long, but it was against Tim Means. Is Tim Means still fighting? Yeah. Yes. But he's getting there. He's getting to the age. Yeah, he's 41. He's getting to the age of contemplating retirement. And he got... Tim Means is also a kind of guy that either finishes you or gets finished. And other than that, his most notable win is probably against Donald Cerrone. But he beat Cerrone when Cerrone was on like his getting finished streak. Let me check. Yeah. I mean, he got it. Oh. He lost the decision to Anthony Pettis. And then he lost by TKO to Alex Morono. So there's this decision before, but before that were 3 TKO losses in a row. So yeah, was not the cowboy of old. So I'm giving this one to Carlos Leal. I think he won his last fight against Fakhretdinov. I mean, at least he should have. I had him closely winning, not by much, but I had him winning. So yeah. And Rinat is ranked, I think, right now. Is he not? Well, Topology says rank 16 in the world. I'm not sure what the UFC says. I think they're having him at 15. Yeah. But, yeah. I think he's going to be too much for Morono. I think he has too much power, too much pressure. I think he's going to take this. Okay, now we have the rankings. Let me check quickly. Middleweight, where is he? He's not in there. Rainier oh my god, that was a tongue twister. Rainier de Ritter took a spot, I think, after his last victory. He's on 15 now. Well, anyhow, I got Carlos Leal. And we move on. By, I think it's going to be unanimous decision. No, unanimous decision, Carlos Leal. Moving on. Middleweight division, we have Bruno Ferreira versus Armen Petrosyan. I was very torn about this fight. Ferreira is a little bit of a submission threat. He showed in his last fight. But he tends to make mistakes in situations where other grapplers would just have it. He did not. And that's why he lost. I think he could have... It pains me to say this because I'm rooting for Abus Magomedov, but he could have beaten Abus Magomedov if he was a little bit more of a better submission grappler. Or maybe it was the moment, I don't know, but he had the opportunities to finish Abus and he didn't. So I don't think he is going to be able to finish Armen Petrosyan either. I think Petrosyan has limited potential in his division. I don't think he's going to be a champion. I'm sorry, I don't. Not unless there's a lot like learning curve a high learning curve, then maybe. But as for right now, I'm sorry, not the potential. But I think his skills will suffice to control Bruno Ferreira, and unless Ferreira catches him early, it's going to be a unanimous decision for Armen Petrosyan. I think there might be a round where Ferreira hurts him on the feet, or even gets a submission threat. And he might take a round. But I don't think he's going to take the fight unless he really, really puts him away. So my money would be on Armen Petrosyan by unanimous decision, because I don't think he's going to finish Bruno Ferreira either. We move on. Flyweights. Joshua Wan versus Ray Tsuruya. Yeah. I don't understand this matchmaking, I have to say, because Tsuruya seems to be on a kind of hot streak. He's on a winning streak. Has he been beaten? No, he's unbeaten yet. But he has a road to the UFC victory and one UFC victory, which was by decision. And he hasn't fought anyone of name. He finished all his early fights, but no one of name again. So it's really tough to call. But since he, in his first UFC fight, he went the distance. I don't think he's gonna put Joshua Wan away. So I'm leaning towards Joshua Wan. I think he's gonna derail him. Sorry, Ray, but that's a really, really tough challenge. And I think Joshua Wan is just too technical and too strong for Ray to get an early finish. And if he doesn't get an early finish, he's gonna lose. And I don't think that we're gonna need the judges, because I think it's gonna be a moment in the fight when Joshua Wan is gonna break him. I think there's gonna be the moment when Tsuruya realizes everything I got is not enough. And in that moment he might just fold, you know? So my guess is TKO for Joshua Wan, probably in the second or third. We move on. This fight I'm really mad about. We have the heavyweights. We have Curtis Blades versus Rizwan Kuniev. I really don't like this fight. There's a bunch of reasons why I don't like this fight. First of all, this is meant to make the UFC or make the UFC look good in comparison to other organizations' talent. And I do not agree with picking Rizwan Kuniev for that endeavor. He's the last person to defeat Renan Ferreira before Francis did it. But he was on PEDs, on a lot of PEDs. So I don't think his win should count. And now they want to just use him in the UFC to let Blades completely dominate him and show the world the UFC fighters are the best in the world. There's no competition. With the easiest fight you could possibly take for that endeavor. And Kuniev does not deserve the spotlight because he's a drug cheat. If there was a still like what was the old doping agency called? I actually don't remember. Well, they would have banned him for a couple of months. And he would not be fighting Curtis Blades. And he should not be fighting Curtis Blades, because Curtis Blades, in my opinion, is looking in to the title picture. A little bit from the outside right now. But he is there. Give him a spectacular win, not against Kuniev. A win against Kuniev doesn't do anything for Curtis Blades. He's supposed to get him out of there in the first round, and if he doesn't do that, he's going to lose stock on this fight. And if he finishes him in the first round, then okay, he did what he was supposed to do. So why give him a title shot after this? It makes no sense for Blades. It makes no sense for the UFC, this fight. It's just weird. A weird fight. Seems like there's might be some testosterone involved. Maybe. Yeah, but Blades just fought for the interim title. And then you give him the newcomer. Who did he beat? Anthony Hamilton? Like a decade after his prime? Who did he beat? I don't know. I don't think he deserves a spot, and I think it's really hard for Blades because he can only lose in this. He can only lose in this. Because of course Kuniev is a threat. But I think he's going to run into Curtis Blades and just lose. I think it's going to work out exactly the way they want it, which is a complete total domination by Curtis Blades. Within one round, he's going to get Rizvan Kuniev out of there. I'm done talking about this fight. I hate this fight. We move on. It's even prelims. What the fuck? The disrespect to a former title challenger. Main card. First fight of the main card is in the lightweight division. We have King Green versus Mauricio Huffy. Yeah, I'm gonna get. Am I gonna get? Let me. I think I'm gonna get shit for this. I might get shit for this because all the hype says Huffy. But I think Bobby King Green has a great opportunity in front of himself here. He's a really good boxer. And yes, Mauricio Huffy has dynamite in his right hand. But he has only, as far as I'm aware, his dangerous shot is a right hand. It's either a hook or it's a straight right hand. Those are his two weapons of choice. A good boxer, when he knows his opponent has only these two weapons, should be able to avoid them, in my opinion. So my real prediction is if King Green can actually avoid the big shot and press Huffy, I think he's going to win this fight. He can actually even finish him because he is the kind of guy that breaks people like Mauricio Huffy. If they still can be broken, I don't know. We will see. Because a good defense in boxing nullifies the power of Hafi. So again, he can't really place his power onto Green. And that's concerning. And at one point he might just lose focus and Green will take over. For sure. Because Green is the kind of person that just gives you volume until he can't anymore. So I do think that it's really possible that Hafi hits a big shot on King Green, because it happened before Jalen Turner did it. So it's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think that the upset is here. I think King Green is going to win this by unanimous decision, or even TKO in the later rounds. We move on. Women's bantamweight division. We have Amanda Lemos versus Yasmin Lucindo. I have to tell you, 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said Amanda Lemos without any hesitation. But I have to say, I don't think she looks herself anymore. I think her losses really hurt her fighting style, in a sense. She's more careful. She doesn't jump on everything anymore. Except for the Yandiroba loss, she has only losses against Leslie Smith, okay. Yeah, but that was her UFC debut. Other than her debut, she only lost to former champions and her last fight to Bernarda Yandiroba. But using to Yandiroba tells me you're on the decline, Amanda. I'm sorry, you're on the decline. And Lucindo is on the up. She still makes a lot of mistakes in her fights, in my opinion. But she's moving up. And she showed in her last fights that she can bite down on her mouthpiece and be tough and still win a tough fight. So I think that Lucindo might even keep her winning streak alive after this. I don't think she's going to finish Amanda Lemos. No chance. But I actually think that Yasmin Lucindo, in 2025, Yasmin Lucindo beats Amanda Lemos by unanimous decision. That's my prediction. We move on. Lightweights, we have the before mentioned Jalen Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Yeah. The rankings say easy for Turner. I think the odds are in his favor as well. Let me check the odds. Let's see. He is a slight favorite. No, is he not? Bahamondes is the favorite on this side. I did not expect this. I thought that my pick was rather controversial here. Okay. Well, My prediction for this, the rankings say it's easy for Turner. The rankings actually do say that, because I think Turner's ranked like close to 15 and Bahamondes is ranked 30 or something. I see many problems for Turner in this fight. Jalen Turner struggles if he doesn't get the finish early in the fight. And Ignacio Bahamondes might not look tough, but he is tough. Holy, he is tough. In fights he gets his face rearranged and still somehow pulls out victories. So he is really tough. And he also has a good technical background with a lot of creativity, a lot of spins, especially spinning back fists. And he could really catch Turner. And I don't think it's going to be a first round knocker, but Bahamondes gets stronger the longer the fight goes. And Jalen Turner usually gets worse the longer the fight goes. So, yeah. My prediction is Ignacio Bahamondes by TKO in round 2 or 3. I'm leaning more towards 3, but it could happen in round 2 as well. All right, we move on to the co-main event of the evening. We have the lightweights. We sadly did not get Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. I'm really sad. I would have liked that fight. But we get the rematch of Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Okay. I really liked the first fight, even though Fiziev gassed hard. And for this fight, I hope that Fiziev's knee is really all healed up. And I really hope that he improved his cardio. Because the way he throws, with the amount of power he throws, in all of his last fights that went longer, he looked worse in the later rounds. A lot worse. I mean, of course, he's built like a tank. He has only muscle mass, which needs oxygen, and he can't breathe that much. It's just not possible during a fight. But he just needs a better cardio. It's just like the Frank Shamrock versus Tito Ortiz problem. You can't dominate for 4.5 rounds if you then gas out for the last couple of minutes and get completely destroyed. It doesn't matter if you won 4 of the 5 rounds. It really doesn't. Like, well, Anderson against Chael, not the same because Chael didn't gas, he just got stupid. But still, it doesn't matter if you won 4 rounds if you can't finish the 5th. If you don't have the gas to survive the 5th, then who cares about your 4 rounds? You're gonna get finished. And Fiziev is only fighting 3 rounds, and it's still happening to him. So I really hope they took that last fight and made the right calls after. Okay, that was very critical. My opinion is that they actually did that. That he worked a lot on his cardio, and that he is gonna have a better cardio and or a better way to preserve his energy for 3 rounds. But for sure they have done something, because everybody knows. Everybody knows. If you fight Rafael Fiziev, try to get to the 3rd round and then push him. And then maybe you get him, you know? But I think they did a lot. He was out for a while because he had, I don't know if it was ACL or MCL. But he fucked up his knee. His knee got destroyed in... which fight was it? Let me check. Was it Dariush? No. Gamrot in the Gamrot fight. No, Mateusz Gamrot. No, he killed his leg himself, no? It wasn't even Gamrot throwing, it was he himself kicking and then couldn't step on it anymore, I think, if I remember correctly. Well, long story short, I think this time Fiziev will prevail, his cardio is going to be better, and I think he was better in round 1 at least than Gaethje. He landed more shots, he landed harder shots. And I think this time he's going to be able to at least win 2 of the 3 rounds. Maybe still gas in the 3rd, but I think it's going to be a unanimous decision win for Fiziev. I don't think he's going to put Justin away, because Justin had... Oh, how much time did he have? Since he had some time, right? Almost a year. 11 months. I'm no expert, but that sounds like a decent time frame. 11 months. I mean, we've seen people jump back in like 2 weeks after a concussion and retire after, huh? Happens. As I said, I'm leaning towards Fiziev. I was rooting for Fiziev in the first fight as well. And then he gassed and disappointed me very, very, very deeply. Yeah, Fiziev. Rafael Fiziev, you disappointed me in the first fight. Please do better this time. Nothing against Justin Gaethje, but I want Fiziev to win, and I think this time he can win. We move on to the main event of the evening. We have the light heavyweights, Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. Finally, Ankalaev gets his shots. I just said that in a way as if I was thinking who was ducking Ankalaev like Jones is ducking Aspinall. I don't think it's that. He's got a really, really good streak of wins. But the last person he finished was Johnny Walker. He won a decision against Rakic. Didn't Rakic take a round? Let me check that. I'm pretty sure Rakic took a round. Yes. Rakic took the first round of him. He was then able to take over and dominate him in the stand-up. Yes, but Alex Pereira is a different beast. Poatan is a different beast, and it's not gonna happen against him. And I think Ankalaev is in his own way in this fight. Because he told everyone he's gonna stand with him and he's gonna catch him. He doesn't need to go wrestling. I've heard all this shit about lying is haram and stuff like that. Who cares? I don't care if he lies and still grapples, but I don't think he's the kind of person to do that. Who cares about... No, not who cares, but doesn't matter. Every religion tells you not to lie. I don't think there's religion that tells you to lie. So, but I just think Ankalaev is the kind of guy that keeps it on the feet. Maybe if he gets dominated on the feet for 2 rounds, he makes changes for the 3rd, maybe. But then you've already been standing up for 2 rounds with Alex Pereira, so maybe you're not even there for the 3rd round. But I have to say, I think that I hope that Alex's grappling is underrated because we haven't seen a lot of it lately. But he's working with Glover daily on his grappling, I'm sure. And they know that the only way at the moment, there's no one who wants to stand with him except for maybe Izzy, or should be willing to stand with him except for maybe Izzy, or maybe Roundtree looked good in his title challenge against him. He could try again to stand with him, but other than that, well, maybe Yuri. But Yuri should be confident. The last time Yuri was so intimidated. He just didn't fight. The first fight was so much better because Yuri was he thought he could win. And when Yuri thinks he can win, he throws creative shit at you. And some stuff lands, other stuff just goes wherever. But he's good. He's very good when he's confident. And he wasn't confident in his rematch against Alex. Well, what I was saying, there's only a handful of people that should actually try to stand with Alex Pereira, and I don't think Magomed Ankalaev is one of them. Sorry, I don't think so. You shouldn't. You should use your stand-up to set up your takedown, or at least threaten him with takedowns a lot. But if you don't, I don't think you're going to see the last bell. I'm sorry. And as I said, Alex is a great kickboxer, and he has been a great kickboxer forever. So he's probably working on his weaknesses, and his weakness is the ground. Okay? I know people might take offense to this, but he is a kickboxer. He's a kickboxing world champion. Of course, he's not a grappling world champion. So, what should he improve on? Wrestling and grappling, I guess? Yes. So, this is what he's doing, and even in his previous fights when he got taken down, he usually managed to stay safe and work back up with a lot of hand control. And I think it's all he's been learning lately, because he doesn't have to learn new skills for kickboxing. He has his timing, he has his strikes. I don't think he's getting he's trying to get new strikes into his arsenal. Why? He has everything you need. I mean, he probably even has he has a spinning back kick. But you don't want to throw those too much because it leaves you open for takedowns. So the way he strikes, I don't want to say it's perfect, but it's good for MMA. Because usually he is able to get his strike and not get taken down. If you do spinnings and a lot of the creative stuff, then it leaves you open for getting taken down in the act. But the most overextending Alex Pereira is gonna do in a fight probably is a roundhouse kick. And during a roundhouse kick, during which he will, even if he turns all the way around, he's gonna fixate you until he's coming back. So there's only a fraction of a second of time where he does not see you. So even then. Well, tough fight for Ankalaev. I don't think he's going to win it on the feet. So I think Alex Pereira is going to defend. I think he's going to go... going to get another TKO. Third round. my prediction on this one. Third round TKO for Alex Pereira. All right, those are my predictions for the card. I'm just going to show you all my predictions in an overview. So we go from top to bottom. I think Alex Pereira is going to TKO Magomed Ankalaev. I think Rafael Fiziev is going to get a unanimous decision over Justin Gaethje. Ignacio Bahamondes is going to TKO Jalen Turner. Yasmin Losindo will win a decision against Amanda Lemos. King Green is going to probably win a decision against Mauricio Rafi. And then I have to disable my cam or move it up. Let's do it up. Yeah, that works. That works. Moving on, we have Curtis Blades versus Rizvan Kuniev. I have Curtis Blades by TKO. Joshua Van by TKO over Ray Tsuruya. Armen Petrosian by decision over Bruno Ferreira. Carlos Leal by decision over Alex Morono. Myron Santos by TKO over Francis Marshall. Chris Gutierrez by unanimous decision over John Castaneda. And the first fight of the evening, I think Ozzy Diaz is going to get a TKO over Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos. Those are my predictions. I hope you liked it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and have a good weekend. I see you guys.